Welcome back, everyone. So now that you've already figured out your MBTI type, so you've got your 4 letters with the words and the percentages, if you needed to change any of these letters because the initial result did not exactly fit you and you felt like there was a different type that fit better, then you can go ahead and document that there. For lesson number 2, today we're going to be filling in some of these other pieces of information. This information can be very helpful in your everyday life. So, this isn't something that is specific to careers or finding a career path, but it can also be used to help you with understanding how you deal with relationships, how you do in school, ways that you could possibly study, and so on. And some of it's just good information to know. So, first, it tells you to read the type description or the introduction and then write down a few key points that describe you well. So, I went to the resources and then personality types because my initial result did not exactly fit what I agreed with. So, I'm going to go to ENFP and look through this introduction to find information that I feel like is accurate to me. And I'm going to type in just 3 to 5 pieces of information here that I think would describe me well. And you'll do the same and write them in on your paper-based worksheet. So I went through and found a few pieces of information that I felt like described me well. They don't have to be complete sentences. There were some that I did copy and paste simply because it was a little quicker and I liked the wording that they initially used. However, we normally do not just copy and paste. That would be considered plagiarism. But in this situation, it's more like notes. I'm not too concerned. So outgoing, creative, my intuition may lead me to read too far into other people's actions and behaviors. My imagination, empathy, and courage can light up not only my own lives, but also the world around me. And instead of simply asking for an explanation, I may end up puzzling over someone else's desires or intentions, and that can create social stress. So now that I've gone through and looked at the introduction and just the basic explanation of the ENFP type, I'm going to go to strengths and weaknesses. That's here on the left. If you noticed, I did make the window smaller and easier to see. So you can also scroll down to the bottom and click on strengths and weaknesses there. In this section, I want you to find 3 to 5 strengths and 2 to 3 weaknesses. And I don't like that they use the word weaknesses. I prefer areas of growth, but some of these things are truly your personality and not necessarily something you can change, but being well aware of them can help you get along a little bit better in life and in careers and even at school. So take this time to find 3 to 5 strengths that you feel like match you, and then 2 to 3 weaknesses that you think you need to be aware of. Hopefully you were able to find some strengths and weaknesses that you identified with. If you didn't, it's still not too late to go back and look at a different type, MBTI type, to see if maybe that one fits you a little bit better. So in the strengths section, I put for ENFP, an excellent communicator. That definitely describes me. Enthusiastic, when something captures my imagination, I come up with 1,000 ideas and I am very inspired to share those ideas with other people. Perceptive, so in my brain, no one is unimportant, which means that I am very sensitive to other people's feelings and needs, and I often will notice when someone is not feeling great without them saying anything. Curious, I can find things fascinating that maybe others wouldn't, and then I enjoy venturing beyond my comfort zone, mostly in search of new ideas, experiences, or adventures. But when it comes to adventures, I don't go that far out of my comfort zone. But I do like new experiences, and I love to be able to come up with a new idea to make something easier or maybe just make something better. Sometimes it doesn't work out well, but I still like to do that. And then I can be spontaneous and lighthearted. That's one thing that my husband and I have in common, is that we both like doing things that are spontaneous and just going somewhere random. And under the weaknesses section, these are things that over the years have helped me better understand myself and identify when I'm doing too much. So you'll see that they kind of go along hand in hand. The first one is people pleasing. Those of us that are ENFPs, we're often uncomfortable with being disliked. This is something that I got over as I got older, but I got over it because I knew that that was a weakness of mine. So I took the time and put energy into not necessarily caring if someone does not like me. But I still do tend to try to people please in other scenarios, such as using extra time to try to please someone else over, like, rather than doing something that I need to do. That also goes with overly accommodating. So ENFPs like to uplift and help other people. And the way that I identify this is by calling myself a yes and person. When someone asks me, can you do this? I more than likely will say yes, and I can do this and this and this. And I make it much more of a project and a task than it ever needed to be. I have fun doing it, but at the expense of my time and my ability to spend time on organization, which leads me to the last one, being disorganized. So oftentimes ENFPs will avoid doing boring, practical matters such as chores and paperwork. And disorganization can be a major source of stress in my life. So the more that I am working on pleasing others and accommodating others, the less time I have to organize my own stuff in my own life. So it can cause a lot of stress. So after this, you're going to be going into the career paths section. When you scroll down, there's a few different ways that you can get there. There's across the top, the menu, or if you have your window larger than I do, it's on the left, career paths. And in this section, you're going to be reading through a little information about your particular type and what career paths might be interesting to you. So take about 3 to 5 notes that you think describe work situations or work habits that do best describe you. After that, you'll be ready to move on to our lesson number 3, which will be further exploring some of these careers. So at this point in time, the video is going to be over, but feel free to explore these careers and look up information. All you need to do right now is take a list of those qualities for careers that it has listed here, and then our next lesson will be looking into specific career types that you might enjoy. I hope this lesson is useful and helpful, and I hope that you can learn to apply some of this information to your everyday lives. Have a great day.